let's just bring on our next guest. Tom Hopkins is the sheriff in Bristol County, Massachusetts, and I'm sure as a sheriff, he's got an opinion with what he just heard, and he'll probably be a little bit more politically correct than I would be. So, Sheriff, welcome to the program. You heard a mayor who, yes, runs as a Democrat, who just a short time ago was getting rid of cops and defunding police, like so many cities, from Minneapolis to Chicago to New York to LA, and now all of a sudden, we want to hire more cops, but it's really tough because of the defund police rhetoric out there. Just your thoughts when you hear an elected official make comments like that.
Dan, thanks for having me. It's outrageous to have any elected official suggested in some way that we should be defunding the police and making our communities less safe. The most fundamental responsibility we have in government is to make sure that we uphold the rule of law so people can be safe. And so this is a movement that's not only happening with mayors and local officials, it's happening from the White House. Yep. How dare they not stand up when they see business owners being looted, hundreds of thousands of dollars, people being killed, who are just trying to do the right thing for the community.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And it is so hypocritical. It's on display. I mean, how many of these mayors and city council members have we seen now in the last year or so since, of course, the Chauvin trial and the George Floyd killing, and then back up, though, to Michael Brown under the Obama administration? I believe that's when it all really started, the big push. You remember that. And then you had cops attacked, like the 5 that got killed, in Dallas, the other ones attacked in Florida years back. This all related to when the White House, you're right, under the Obama-Biden administration, started saying we need to reimagine police, and police are racist, and defund them. And then it trailed through over the last how many years, and then exploded over the last year, and she's trying to blame it on COVID restrictions, that they don't have enough cops working for them in Oakland. Really? That's not why you don't have cops there, dear.
No, it's not. It's not, Dan. And you know, what's really sad about it is that's the phoniness that goes on. They will use these false sort of arguments. But I got to tell you something, the American people aren't stupid. And they're rallying around law enforcement and the sheriffs of this nation. They're getting involved with Protect America Now, which is an organization of law enforcement people and sheriffs who are coming together and saying, we're not going to turn our backs on the people. We're going to uphold our oath. And no, we're not going to allow these public officials to say that these criminals can now have less responsibility or accountability. And the people that are going to suffer for it are going to be the people we promise to protect. If they don't want to uphold their oath, well, the sheriffs of this nation will, and we'll partner with our law enforcement officers every step of the way to keep those communities safe.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how many of you sheriffs around the country have created or already had organizations of sheriffs coming together, whether it be fighting now down on the border, trying to protect our 4 border states, because, again, the Biden regime won't do anything about stopping the flow of drugs, of trafficking, of illegals at the border, so sheriffs are stepping up there. Sounds like with this Protect America Now group, you guys are doing the same there, trying to protect our streets here on the homeland. I wanted to get your take on these crooks being incentivized, if you will. I feel like they hear the rhetoric from the elected officials, right? And then they see the results when other criminals get busted, where these panty-waist DAs don't prosecute. They let them out with no bail, like the scum in Wisconsin that did the massacre at the Christmas parade, who was released on like no bail. Do you think that is probably, I mean, it's black and white, but I wanted to get your take on it. This has to be what's incentivizing even more to criminals. They're like, they're not going to do anything to me.
There's no question. Look what's happening at the border. It's the same thing, right? They incentivize people to come. But what they're doing in regards to the crime is they're basically saying, look, we're going to raise the charge of felony to $900 for a misdemeanor or more, when it used to be $250. They're lowering bails and saying there should be no bails. I mean, this is craziness. It's basically saying we think that until the person's convicted, even though they might have gone and broken into your house and threatened you with a weapon, that they didn't do anything yet by being convicted. So we're going to just let them out. They have a right to be out, and they don't have enough money to pay their bail. Well, you know what? They didn't have to commit those crimes. They didn't have to victimize the innocent people of our communities. And that's what jails are for.
But Sheriff, that's what liberals are saying. See, they're normalizing and they're mainstreaming the fact that if you're poor, downtrodden, have an issue or a problem, it's okay to go commit a crime. It's almost like with the Summer of Love. Remember that, Sheriff? They're normalizing and saying, you know what? If you're being civilly disobedient because you're a minority and you don't like how you're being treated, you're allowed to go burn crap and beat people up. Same with this crime wave. Well, if you're poor and you really need that Gucci bag that you're going to sell for $300 on the street that was only $850, you won't get in trouble for stealing it. Go ahead and do it. That's what they're doing. They're normalizing it and mainstreaming it.
That's exactly what they're doing. And, you know, this idea of saying it's not a problem you should be punished for sends a message to the public that you can't be safe and nobody's going to protect you, because we're more worried about the criminals who, frankly, wouldn't have to be worried about bail if they didn't go out and victimize you. Yes. But you know what? You need to carry the weight of being victimized, because we feel bad for these people and they shouldn't have to be behind bars, so they can go out and victimize more people. It's crazy, it's outrageous, and it's a violation of the oath of every elected official in this nation, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
They should. They should. Probably won't, though. That's what's unfortunate, because the lunacy lives in their head and they believe they're right. I don't understand it. Or they know it's wrong and they're just doing it to get reelected, which is probably most cases. Tom Hodgson, he's the sheriff, Bristol County, Massachusetts. Keep up the fight out there. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for your service to your community and for all you sheriffs out there fighting back.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.